Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and a warm welcome from Jakarta, Indonesia, to the International Workshop on Technology Transfer and Commercialization, Day 2. To all participants, we have some rules before we start our agenda. For those with us in this virtual room, please turn your camera on and keep your mic muted throughout the end of the session. And all participants are encouraged to put the virtual background on which available to be downloaded at the link provided by the committee. And also please do rename your Zoom account by the format country code and followed by your name. I repeat, the format is country code dash your name. An example, ID dash Jonathan. And for all participants, you'll have an opportunity to ask questions later during a panel session. For those who joining through the video conference or any YouTube channel, please submit your question through the chat box provided, stated by your name, your country, and to whom the question is aimed to. And for a verbal question, please wait until the Q&A segment to post the questions. And for all participants are expected to attend the entire series of the event solemnly and orderly. The entire session will be recorded and stored by the committee as a form of government accountability. And another information, as the output of our workshop, which will be adopted by all member states, we have shared you the draft of adoption of resolution that can be accessed as well on the material folder at the link provided by the committee, the same link as the virtual background. So we would like you to encourage add input or make any comments if there's any, and we will discuss together later on adoption of resolution session. Right, so ladies and gentlemen, we are delighted to be joined today by the Honorable Mrs. Tri Nur Aris Sustining Tias, Executive Secretary of National Research and Innovation Agency, as well as National Focal Point of Indonesia for NAM Science and Technology Center and Executive Secretary of BRIN. Dr. Amitava Bandopadai, Director General NAM Science and Technology Center, Honorable Outstanding Distinguished Speakers, and honorable researchers, academics, and all participants from NAM member states. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dara Suri, and it is my great pleasure to welcome all of you to the workshop and to be the master of ceremony of our event today. As we have a common thing to achieve towards the workshop, it is to collect, study, and share best practice and increase participants' knowledge of various forms and possibilities of technology transfer and commercialization strategies. And this event also become an input where government can form a new solution, including the private sectors, to make contributing role through their provide-oriented activities in addressing public concerns. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we start the session, we will have a photo session first. And please kindly turn your camera on and spot the best angel shot of yours. Right, I will take the lead to count down the photo session, and for the committee, please assist the session. Okay, we are going to the first page. 1, 2, 3. Okay, move on to the second page. 1, 2, 3. Okay, next. To the third page. 1, 2, 3. Maybe for the race page, it can be assisted by the committee. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further delay, let's move on to the plenary session. We have 3 keynote speakers for the plenary session. The first one, Dr. Wan Raihana Wan Asim from Malaysia. The second one, Professor Nurul Taufikur Rahman MN from Indonesia. And the third one is DRK Ika Dewi Ana, MPhil PhD. So for the first speaker, Dr. Wan Raihana Wan Asim, currently as a Vice President Technology and Innovation Fund, Malaysian Technology Development Corporation, MTDC Malaysia. Her role is to manage the newly launched Sandbox Fund, which is part of the government's post-COVID-19 Penjana program. And Mrs. Wan Raihana was also a researcher at the Brain Network Center for Neurocognitive Science of a University Science Malaysia. And she is also a certified HRGF trainer, specializing in training related to innovation, creativity, technology transfer, and commercialization, as well as a certified master performance coach. And she also holds a degree in chemistry and PhD in pharmacology from University Science Malaysia and MBA in technology management from Open University, United Kingdom. As informed, she will deliver the topics about lab to market challenge, tips, and tricks. Now I will greet first Dr. Wan Raihana. Are you with us?
Yes, I am. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Good afternoon, Dr. Wan.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Now I'll give the floor to you.
Right. Sure. I can share my own slides, right?
Sure. Please.
Can you let me know if you can see the slides and they're in the proper view?
We can see it clearly.
All right. And it's full screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. So I can begin?
Please proceed.
All right, thank you. So again, Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to all the participants. It really is a pleasure to see so many participants from so many different countries. And I'd also like to thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to do this session, and hopefully it will fulfill the expectations by the organizers. So I've been invited to speak on the topic of from lab to market, challenges, tips and tricks. And what I'm going to do for today's session is basically look at it from the perspective of researchers and the various issues that researchers usually face when trying to bring a product to the market, and as well as sharing some of the I would say very basic though tips and tricks for these researchers to help them on the commercialization journey. Right, so yeah, this is my introduction. Already Madam MC has given me such a kind introduction, so I will skip this. Allow me first to introduce a little bit about my organization. So hopefully that will give you an idea of where I'm coming from and the experiences that we have had in Malaysia in terms of promoting commercialization of local R&D. So MTDC is a Malaysian Technology Development Corporation. So we've been around a long time, since 1992. And our mandate has always been spearheading the development of technology-based companies in Malaysia. And how we do that really is by promoting commercialization of local R&D. We also work with technology-based companies in Malaysia for them to adopt new technologies, incorporate new technologies within their businesses, and basically develop the whole technology-based landscape of the nation of Malaysia. So that's our role. And won't go into it into too much detail, but what we like to say in MTDC is that we offer our technology-based companies within our ecosystem the complete equation, right? So we started off in 1992 as a venture capital organization, facilitating commercialization of local R&D. And most of the time that R&D was R&D coming out from local universities, so researchers who have a good product, and we facilitated them to bring this IP out into the market. So we started out as a funding agency, doing investments, venture capital, grants, loans, and things like that. But along the years of us working with these technology-based companies, we realized that, it's not enough just to give a company funding and then expect them to go out, sell their product and be successful. It just doesn't work that way. So what we developed later on was other services as well. We help them very much in terms of forming linkages, be it linkages with other businesses, other entrepreneurs, government associations, other funding agencies, and things like that. We also have incubation services. We have 5 different incubation centers, all based within local universities in Malaysia. So the idea is to promote that university industry collaboration. And we also provide a wide range of advisory services as well, be it financial advisory, fundraising. We even sit down with them, help them do their accounts and things like that. And really, it's such a hand-holding process working with the companies within our ecosystem and facilitating that commercialization journey for the companies in our organization. And I'm very happy to say that since 1992, we've facilitated and funded close to 700 companies, technology-based companies in Malaysia. Right, so that's enough about my organization. Just a little bit about the topic, and I always think it's good to start with something of a cartoon, always giving a picture of what we're trying to talk about today. Now, the whole idea of commercialization, if you're a researcher, you really want to avoid the situation here that you see in this cartoon, right? I mean, you see this researcher at his technology transfer office, and he's saying, I spent 19 years doing research, and I've developed this wonderful solution which addresses such a big problem. But the lady behind the technology transfer desk just says, no big deal. And there's so many reasons why this can happen. Maybe it's a technology that she's seen before. Maybe it's something that's not commercializable and things like that. But I think this is, every researcher's worst nightmare, to get that kind of a reaction from the technology transfer office, right? So this is a very real challenge that I think all researchers face. And this is also another one, which I like very much, a bit of a joke here, but really, this guy invented fire. Caveman, he invented fire, and now he sees that it's widespread, it's huge, and he just said, why didn't I take a patent out, and then he would have been the richest caveman in the world. So also another issue, right, with researchers: do I patent it or do I commercialize it? How do I protect it, and things like that? So these are all questions that throughout the years of working with so many researchers and entrepreneurs, we've seen all these issues and challenges which researchers face. All right, so let's go to the challenges first of actually bringing a product from the lab to the market. And how I wanted to walk you through these challenges is basically to show you, it's a little story really. And while this one is actually fictional, it's based on our experiences at MTDC. So it's a very true story actually, but a little bit fictionalized to protect somebody's identity. But okay, I'm sure that many of you in this meeting or in this session knows what fruit that is. If you don't, it's a durian, which is a very famous fruit here. Very smelly, but if you love it, you love it. If you hate it, then you'll never want to eat it, right? So this is a story of a researcher. Let's call him Professor X. And what he's done is, he loves to eat durian. And, one day he was just eating durian and he realized that, you eat the flesh, you eat the fruit, and you just throw away the skin. And he was thinking, being a researcher, he said, who knows? There might be something worthwhile in that durian skin. So he went back to his lab. He's a biochemist, and he started doing extractions, looking at the compounds and things like that. He found that actually in the durian skin, it's a very good antioxidant. So of course, he does some more research and he looks into the compounds, and he actually realizes that, yes, it's a very good antioxidant. There's a lot of properties in there. And what he did was he actually came up with a health supplement, like a vitamin that you can take, right, to ingest it. And then, he found anti-cancer properties and other good values like that. So what he did, was actually get really excited about commercializing this product. He went to register himself with my IPO is Malaysia's intellectual property organization. So he filed his patents. He went to a few exhibitions, got a few gold awards and things like that. His friends and family also thought, he had a wonderful product. He gave them the product and they said, yes, I really like it. I would buy this if you were to commercialize it and things like that. So next thing you know, he sets up a company and he starts to bring his product to the market. Now, at this point, I just want to stop everyone here and let's take a look at what is his mindset at this moment. What exactly is he thinking about as he starts on his commercialization journey? All right, so from his perspective as a researcher, he thinks that he has a very good product because number one, it's an easy to make extract. All he did was go to the lab, put in a few chemicals to the durian skin, and voila, he's got his durian extract, which has such good properties. Right? Then he says, it's also good because it's low cost. It's almost free. Durian skin is something that people throw away. It's a waste product, so he can use it and, make a product out of it. So it's very free. Raw material is free, and it's almost, fantastic in that sense. He also realizes that it's the first in Malaysia. Nobody's ever done it. Let's not just mention Malaysia, probably the first in the world for this kind of product. So he's very excited about that as well. And then he looks at the industry as a whole, the supplement industry. And he sees that, out there in the world, there are so many people who have, commercialized such things, health supplements and things like that. And they became multimillionaires. So he thinks that, he has a pretty good chance of doing so as well. He also thinks that, because he's a researcher, he's got all the data to back up his product. He's done the animal studies, he's done the cancer property studies and all that. So he does have very sound research to back up his product as well. He's won those awards and funding from the university and things like that. So he's really in a good place at the moment. And last but not least, everybody has told him, we love the product. And if you were to put it in the market, we'll definitely buy it. All right. So he gets funding, he sets up his company, and he starts to commercialize his product, right? But as he starts to go through this commercialization journey and bringing his product to the market, then what actually happens to this professor is that he realizes that, reality is not as how he actually perceived it. And let's take a look at what actually happened to Professor X in this case, right? So first of all, yes, while he was working at the lab scale, it was definitely easy because, he was just doing it on a small scale in the lab, few milligrams and things like that. But the reality now is that when he's doing it on a mass production scale, he's working in terms of tons and large amounts and things like that. Then he had all these upscaling technical issues, purity issues and things like that, which he had to deal with. And it was very difficult to sort out. True, it was low cost when he was doing it in the university as part of his, in his lab, as his university lab. But the moment he set up a commercial production, he had realized that now he has to pay rent. He has to pay for his manpower. He has to pay for electricity. So, of course, it's not low cost anymore. He's got all these costs that he now has to think about, which he never had to think about as a researcher before. Raw material was free, right? But after a while, people noticed that he was starting to go and pick up all this waste durian skin all over. And then they realized, then they started to ask him, why are you taking all this? First, they were happy because he was actually taking their waste away for them. So they were happy with that. But they realized as he kept on doing it, they started to ask him, what are you doing with it, right? So he says, oh yeah, I'm bringing it to my lab and I'm making new products out of it. So then they say, you're making money from something that I'm throwing away. So why don't I make money and start to charge you instead for this raw material, right? So then, of course, because his raw material isn't free anymore, his costs start to build up some more. All right, so true. Next one is first in Malaysia, right? But honestly, consumers don't really care if your product is first, especially if it's a cosmetic product. That's not really something that people will look at when you're trying to buy something. I mean, think about it. The last time you bought something, cosmetic product or a health product, you don't go and look and say, have I ever seen this before? No, you don't. You look at the properties and things like that. It's nice to know if it's the first in Malaysia or first in your own country, but it's not something that would actually influence the consumer decision. It's true, others have done it, but that's the problem. Cosmetics market saturated. A lot of people are doing it. There's a lot of research that needs to be done and things like that. So everyone's doing it and it's so saturated. So it's very hard for him to bring out his product and make it stand out among all the other products in the market. Having research to back it up also was good for him, but he had to realize that, in Malaysia, and I'm sure a lot of other countries around the world, there are regulations as to what you can claim. So if you're putting out a health supplement, you can't claim that it's, say, anti-cancer or it treats a certain disease unless you've done those clinical trials. And clinical trials obviously are very costly. It's not something that he could afford at the moment. He's won awards and funds, but true. But when you start to develop your business and you go for commercialization, winning awards, especially academic awards, is not something that will convince funders, especially funders who are looking at your business strategy and whether or not their investment will generate returns for them. Right. And last but not least, this one, everybody says they love it. Now, this is a very Malaysian context, but I think it's true for most Asians, right? Malaysians, you rarely say no. We're very nice people. We like to, if you're your friends and things like that, you wouldn't give them negative feedback. You give positive feedback all the time. Try to give them some enthusiasm and encouragement. So the positive feedback was there, but unfortunately, he couldn't translate that to sales, actual sales, when he went to the market. So, obviously from the story, hopefully you'll see that it's not as clear cut as having a good product. When we're talking about commercialization, it's not that straightforward path. You have a good product, you can easily bring it to the market and people will buy it just like that. There are a lot of issues. It can be technical issues, it can be financial issues and things like that. So, based on our experience at MTDC, these are some of the common issues that we've encountered, especially in very early stage companies which are trying to bring R&D products to the market, right? So first one is looking at environment. Financing issues, always a big problem, and then marketing issues and management as well. I'm going to go very quickly through this. I know I have limited time. Let's just take a look at environment. This slide shows you basically the whole environment of commercialization support in Malaysia. So you can see there are so many universities here. There's so many agencies here, government agencies, non-profit agencies, all these different groups of people working towards bringing commercialization out there. But there's a lot of issues in terms of, different organizations working in silos. Sometimes the researcher themselves are not aware of the advantages or the programs offered as well. So, this has always been an issue with commercialization, not only I'm sure in Malaysia, but all around the world as well. We also have definitely issues with financing. Commercialization is really, really hard and it requires a lot of investment. So I like this from a study done in 2007, quite old, long time ago, but I think it's still quite relevant. For every $1 spent on research, you need at least $100 more to translate that into commercially viable product. Now, researchers tend to have the mindset that, the moment you get your prototype out of the lab, you don't need to invest anything else. It's just going to sell itself. Unfortunately, that's not true. A lot of investment is needed to translate a research ready product or a research prototype into something that's commercially viable, something that's marketable, something that will be accepted by the consumers. So insufficient funds is always something I think which is also definitely a worldwide problem. And of course, inadequate working capital, like the example that I showed you, when you realize that you need to start paying for manpower, for rental, for raw material and things like that, then you're going to have insufficient working capital, and which will then obviously bring cash flow problems as well. At the early stages of businesses as well, you're going to have high expenses, all the different setup costs, capital outlay and things like that. And when you're starting to enter a market, you're going to expect very low margins most of the times. So it's very hard for a company to maintain that balance and survive maybe past 2 or 3 years with the issue of actually having high expenses and low margins. Another issue that a lot of startups face is because they are very early stage, they're very new to the business and things like that. So a lot of funders do not take that risk and are willing enough to invest money into their organization. Marketing is also another issue that we would like to look about. Usually, researchers tend to be very technical people, so they are technical when they come and present. When they're trying to approach funders, for example, they focus on the technical aspects, but they never look at the marketing aspects as well. Sometimes they're too slow to the market, failure to identify customer needs or trends, and then not being able to understand their customers as well. So as a researcher, if you're trying to commercialize, one of the issues that you need to make sure you can address is that ability really to market your product properly and to ensure that the product that you're offering can fulfill the customer needs and wants. Management issues is also another one, lack of leadership, failure to set measurable objectives when you're trying to bring a product to the market, and lack of skills as well. More often than not, a lot of researchers are the ones who become the entrepreneur, set up their company, right? But along the way, they realize that they don't have those entrepreneurial skills. It's not something that, you're born with, but it can be acquired, obviously. But researchers do have to have that mindset where they start to think more entrepreneurially rather than thinking like a researcher. So I won't go into this in too much detail because I think we're a bit short of time. But commercial fit is all about, bringing a product to the market, making sure that your product fits what the market wants, making sure that your product identifies a problem and provides a solution to that problem and things like that. So it's really a matter of fitting the jigsaw pieces together. All right, so this is my second part where I'm just going to talk a little bit about tips and tricks for researchers. So researchers, I know, very busy people, you have your research to do, you have teaching and things like that. So how do you also do commercialization? Well, the first thing is you have to know yourself, all right? First of all, understand that whether you're a fundamental researcher or you applied researcher, if you're the type of researcher that you do fundamental research, don't even think about commercialization, because fundamental research is all about contributing to the body of knowledge, making new knowledge available and things like that. If you're an applied researcher, then yes, you should be thinking about how does your product, which comes out of your research, will be something that you can offer to consumers and things like that. Another thing is, as a researcher, you always have to ask yourself the question, do you really want to be an entrepreneur? Because not all researchers are cut out for entrepreneurship. Not everyone has those entrepreneurial tendencies and things like that. And of course, are you willing and things like that. Appetite for risk is another thing. Being a researcher has a different risk profile. It's relatively more safer to be in the lab and develop products compared to an entrepreneur where you're investing your time, money into something which you don't even know will generate a profit or not. So the risk profile is higher, and if you do not have that appetite for that kind of risk, then perhaps you're better off, instead of becoming an entrepreneur yourself, perhaps licensing it out to somebody who's more, entrepreneurial in that sense, right? So that links into the second tip, which is choosing your path. And you have to choose wisely, as Yoda says. Do you do licensing? Do you let someone else for you, or do you sell it outright to them, or do you then set up your own company and spin off a company and you yourself as a researcher commercializes the technology itself? Again, you have to look at the considerations. Do you have enough time? Do you have the capabilities, commitment, resources, and the ambition to actually do the specific path that you've chosen? I don't have too much time to go into it, but each of these paths for commercialization do have its own pros and cons. The third one that we like to advise our researchers is you always have to begin with the end in mind, right? So when you're working on a research project which you're talking about commercialization, or your hope is that it's something that is going to be commercialized, it will not do to just work on the technology and then at the very end of your research project start thinking, is this something that someone's going to buy? No, you really have to start, even before you write that research proposal, you really have to look at what is it that your customers want, and then you formulate your research and your product around that, rather than doing a research first and then sending it out there into the market and seeing whether someone was going to buy it. All right, so I always recommend to look at the value proposition canvas. This is a tool which is easily available, freely available at strategizer.com. And it really is a fantastic framework for researchers to just look at what it is that you're proposing and see whether or not it fits with the customers that you want to target. I recommend any researcher who's looking on embarking on a commercialization product to look at the value proposition canvas and try to do one to just really see whether this is something that fits with what the customers actually are demanding in the market. Last but not, sorry, this is my fourth tip, second last one. You have to be critical as a researcher, right? And you might be wondering why I have this picture of this crying baby. We always like to advise researchers, you have to avoid what is called the cute baby syndrome. Now, the mothers in the meeting today might understand what this means. You know, as a mother, right? You carry a baby for 9 months and you go through all the pains of pregnancy and childbirth. And when your baby comes out, you know, the baby to you is the most beautiful baby in the world. And no matter what people think or say, you know, your baby is just the most cutest baby, right? So all mothers believe that. And unfortunately, this applies to researchers as well. Researchers tend to look at their research product or research project as their baby. And they get very defensive about when you ask them hard questions on whether or not this is something that people are going to buy, whether or not this is something that, you know, will have commercial benefit and things like that. So as a researcher, you really need to avoid this cute baby syndrome and ask yourself the hard questions. Really look at it, you know, and think whether or not this is something with that commercial potential, whether it's worthwhile or not to pursue it commercially as well. All right, so this is my last and final tip. Please do get help or feedback early on. And when we're talking about help and feedback, it's not, you know, talking to other researchers at academic conferences and things like that. It has to be talking to industry people, your competitors, potential customers, you know, people who work in the commercialization ecosystem, and get feedback from them really. And it has to be as early on in your research as possible, not towards the very end when you already have something and, you know, you can't go back and undo the years of work that you've already done. It has to be preferably at the ideation stage, preferably before you even write that research proposal. You know, get that perspective from all these different organizations and people who are working in the ecosystem as to what they think of your product and whether or not there's that commercial potential. Because trust me, that kind of feedback will really help you when you're trying to commercialize later on. Right, so I think that's it. I hope I wasn't going too long over the time. I just wanted to end with this. You know, a lot of researchers' expectation is commercialization is going to be a really smooth journey. I mean, they've gone through the whole R&D, which is, you know, ups and downs are there. And hopefully, you know, once the product is ready, you know, it's so easy just to go to the market and sell it. But, you know, the reality is there's going to be so many pitfalls, so many challenges and things like that. But, you know, it can be done. At MTDC, we've seen so many examples of successful ones. We've also unfortunately seen some very unsuccessful ones as well. But, you know, with the proper support and proper planning, I think that, you know, it can definitely be done. And I wish everyone all the best in their commercialization journey. With that, thank you very much. This is my contact information. I will be happy to connect with anyone or answer any questions if you do have any. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Wan, for the very interesting speech from you. That you've mentioned that we actually have to face the reality in the market that affect or influence the ecosystem of commercialization itself, like environment, financing matters, marketing and management. And also, you mentioned about the tips and trick for fitting all the problem that has happen in the market itself. It's like you need to know yourself better and choose the path wisely, like by many concerns that you mentioned before, right? And also begin with the end in the mind. So picturing what consumer wants, what customers needs actually, and also be critical for your products. Don't don't stuck with the cute baby syndrome, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And as a hard question for it for your products, and also get help feedback early from your customer. Maybe it helps to improve our products. What an delightful speech, Mr. Wan. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Yes. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to the second speaker. Is going to be Professor Nurul Taufikur Rahman, M.Eng. Professor Nurul is currently the head of the Research Center for Metallurgy and Materials at National Research and Innovation Agency. He was graduated from Kagoshima University, Japan, for doctor degree in material science and production engineering in 2000. He has filed 40 patents and published more than 200 international and national papers. He has been also received the Hatakeyama Award from Japan, the Best Innovation and Idea Award from SWA Magazine, the Habibie Award, the third President of Republic Indonesia, as an outstanding scientist, and also the WIPO medal in the inventor category from the World Intellectual Property Organization. Prof. Nurul is also the founder and chair of the Indonesian Society for Nano and established Nano Center Indonesia with young scientists as a platform that brings together young scientists and entrepreneurs to develop startup industry based on R&D result. And Professor Nurul, are you with us?
Okay, yeah. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, Prof. Nurul. Okay, you ready to start your presentation?
Yes, okay.
Sure, the floor is yours.
Okay, I already shared my presentation, as all of you, I hope already.
Yes.
Okay.
We can see it
Okay,
clearly.
thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everybody. It is an honor for me to have an opportunity to talk about our little bit experience on nanotechnology development in Indonesia and its commercialization based on Indonesian natural resources from lab to the industry. I am Nurul from Research Center for Metallurgy and Material, BRIN. Okay, well, this scientists dream that in the future they can create robotic white blood cell swim through the circulatory system of the human body, ingesting and destroying pathogenic agents such as harmful bacteria, virus, and exactly. Nano is a dimension of nanometer. 1 nanometer equals 1/1 billion meter, very, very small. And the definition of nanotechnology is the ability to understand, control, and manipulate matter at the level of individual atoms and molecules, as well as the supramolecular level involving cluster or molecules. It's good to create materials, devices, and systems with essentially new properties and function because of their small structure. These nanomaterials should display different properties from bulk or micromatic and larger materials as a result of their size. These different include physical strength, chemical reactivity, electrical conductance, magnetism, and optical effect. Nowadays, many nanotechnology-based customer products are already on the market in Indonesia. Food supplements, sport equipment, our shoes, clothes, computers, electronics, trim, cosmetic, and exactly. And over 2,300 customer products based on nanotechnology are already available in the market in the world. Moreover, it is also predicted nanotechnology can lead to the fifth industrial revolution. They say that nanotech revolution will give significant societal impact that equal to 4 previous industrial revolution in relatively short period. Well, talking about our country, Indonesia is blessed with abundance of natural resources, including its biodiversities, the second greatest after Brazil. This may be used as a raw material for nano-based product. And we are the third most populated country in the Asia and fourth in the world with around 2,070 million people. And this is a big and a potential market. Recently, research on medicinal plant has attracted a lot of attention globally. WHO estimated 80% of world population uses herbal preparation and noted that 119 plants are with efficacy and use in making modern medical. 74% of those plants are used in the modern medicine the same way they use in the traditional medicine. And why do we need nanotechnology in traditional medicine? Because first, this is a limitation in traditional technology, extract such as herbal material, so we need nano-processing technology. Second, since traditional extract method may use toxic solvent, the use amount of those are limited. Therefore, we need nano-processing technology. In delivery system, there are some limitation of using traditional medicine, such as the herbal drug may get deteriorated in the acidic pH of pH of the stomach and also low solubility and bioavailability. Therefore, need nano carrier technology and so on. And researcher from Taiwan, Liu et al. Reported that nanotechnology can increase active constituent amount significantly during extraction. And nanotechnology can be used as a novel drug delivery system because of the unique size of nanoscale particles that enhance the entire of surface area on the drug, allocating quicker dissolution in the blood, and so on. Expert has predicted that the very significant increase in the optimistic global value for nanomaterials to reach more than 14.7 billion US dollar in 2015 and will rise exponentially to reach about 55 billion US dollar in 2022. For example, if we can be the producer of nanoparticle, we can benefit a lot. Just reducing the size of the particle into nano has increased the value significantly. Ceramic nanoparticles here is about 1 to 1,000 kilogram US dollar per kilogram. Metal nanoparticle is about 10 to 10,000 US dollar per kilogram. How about herbal nanoparticles that we can create, we can make? This increase to or 100 or even 10,000 times much higher than raw material without nanotechnology process, and the consumption tend to increase by time. Well, now let's talking about the nanotechnology impact in our natural resources. Nanotechnology give a significant impact for our agriculture raw material. This kurma only 2,000 rupiah per kilogram in the traditional market. However, we can significantly increase its value to be about 500 times or about 1 million rupiah per kilogram while it become curcuma nanoparticle for cosmetic or for traditional medicine. Using nanotechnology, ginger powder nanoparticles can dissolve to the water up to 100% without remaining materials, showing you how the great effect of nanotechnology on herbal product. And this is also the great impact of nanotechnology. The mangosteen rind extract nanoparticle can be used as a herbal tea with high antioxidant and therefore can increase the added value up to 2 million rupiah per kilogram. Well, here is a chitosan nanoparticles from shrimp cell. We can change the unvalued fisheries waste to become a raw material for high quality of cosmetic and medicine product. It can be used for anti-aging, sunscreen, wound healing, drug delivery, and antibacterial and so on. And so we also can add significant value for our other agriculture products such as avocado, cucumber, and so on by nanotechnology to be extracted and to be used for many things, for soap, medicine, cosmetic, and for food supplement product and so on. The value of nanotechnology can be illustrated as follows. A farmer of curcuma need to produce 5 ton curcuma to buy a super slim laptop, but I can get that laptop with only 5 kilogram nano powder of curcuma. that I produce from less than 2 kilogram dried curcuma that cost me only 70,000 rupiah. So I can buy a 10 million rupiah laptop with only 70,000 rupiah. This mobile phone can be purchased maybe about 2 million rupiah, where I can buy this also with only 1 kilogram of mangosteen rain nanoparticles. Ladies and gentlemen, you may use curcuma or mangosteen rain particles containing cream for your beauty care 2 or 3 times a day. Then you have to buy this product anytime. While how often you do buy a laptop once in 2 or 3 years. To make this super slim laptop or mobile phone, you may need to invest trillion of rupiah. To reap similar value added, you only need to give me billion of rupiah to produce nanoparticle of curcuma. With this illustration, then we Indonesian will choose which one, establishing a laptop factory which we may not win competing with other country, or pushing the establishment of herbal factory with very high value added. And well, ladies and gentlemen, the nano tsunami is gaining height. We have to prepare before we got swept over. For your information, the player of nanotechnology is not gigantic industry, but small and startup company that spun off from a university or research center, because the barrier entry of nanotechnology business is the technology itself, not about capital or money. Let's join hand in hand to develop this nanotechnology industry and business for our prosperity based on our very rich natural resources. Finally, last but not least, I will talk about Nano Center in Indonesia activity in applying the fourth model of technology transfer. Our team achievement now, we got already 42 patents. We already published more than 300, 7 books, get more than 30 grants and 30 awards. So you can just find my in activity in media, and this maybe that some media says top 10 national inventor by Tempo magazine or by Compass, or I think here is our award achievement. And okay, this is the WIPO medal. And here the founder of our nanotech group business. Now we have 9 startup, submitting 42 patent, and the revenue is about 2.5 million last year. This year is double, I think. And here is our head office of Nano Global, our startup, the holding, and so many more than 50 product based on nanotechnology is already in the market. This is the champion of our product, by some propolis, many other propolis with this is metcovazine for wound care cream with chitosan encapsulated nanoparticles. Maybe you can found in Google. I think you can search. With this one is for a cosmetic product, also from mangosteen green for cosmetic product, and nano gold ESCO, and for another, I think for your health, I think cholesterol herbal drink. And also if you go to the supermarket, you can find our product nano silver for detergent, and many we develop a new product for baby series, for health supplement. And here is some our the only the only winner from 1,300 other startup in the competition held by Grab and by Mandiri, and it's our partner. And so the conclusion is Indonesia has abundant natural resources to be processed using nanotechnology for many industrial applications, increasing added value. Nanotechnology will revolutionize many sectors, including agriculture, and replace current technology. Indonesia should take advantage of this nanotechnology to uplift the competitiveness of Indonesia to equal to other advanced countries in this disruptive era. The challenge is how to nanotechnology transfer from lab to the industry. The requirement is knowledge worker, researchers, great research result, invention, patent, researcher with entrepreneurial attitude. In the strategy, we can choose making startup company or collaboration with R&D center and industry. So with nanotechnology, we will this illustration technology trend, we can change, become like this. Last but not least, I just click this video.
Saya ingin memaknai dari konteks ini bahwa membangun bangsa ini seharusnya ini peran kita sudah jelas. Mari kita otak kita ini kita agak sedikit peras lah gitu, tanda kutip ya. Masa sih kita nggak bisa mengangkat satu produk, dua produk, tiga produk yang bisa mungkin berkontribusi terhadap negara kita. Kok nemen kalau bahasa Jawanya itu kok sangat sekali. Saya yakin sih pasti bisa.
Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Prof. Nurul, for the very interesting speech about nanotechnology that you offer us. To maybe there are one or another member states who will later jointly have a cooperation in nanotechnology. So I will highlight several topics that you mentioned before, that nanotechnology has been increased in global market for the potentially, and it potentially growth exponentially later in the future, right? And you use this nanotechnology for enhancing the raw material, especially in our environment, in our biodiversity for the cosmetics, on healing, drug delivery, antibacterial, and it is highly added value for many products, right? Thank you very much, Prof. Nurul, for the speech, and we are going to the next speaker. It is DRG Ika Dewi Ana. Yeah, she is a vice rector for now for the research and community development Universitas Gadjah Mada, and Mrs. Ika is currently graduated, finished her PhD from Kyushu University, Fukuoka, Japan, majoring rehabilitative medicine or bioceramics. She has achieved many awards, includes the Bioceramics Excellence Award for the contribution in the field of bioceramics on ISCM in North Carolina University. Also, Excellence Award from SRB, Romanian Society for Biomaterial in Constanta, Romania in 2016. Also, President International Society for Ceramics in Medicine, ISCM, from 2015-2016. And of course, there are many more achievements that can't be mentioned all of it at once. All right, maybe I will greet first Mrs. Ika. Are you here with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mrs. Ika. So I'll give the floor to you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to share our experience in the university. Selamat siang. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The title of the presentation is Delivering Innovations into Community Practices from Universitas Gadjah Mada. So we started the efforts to deliver the medical devices and drugs into the market in Indonesia since 2012, actually. But then the first products already commercialized into the market, launched and commercialized in August 2014. So this is the bone graft. And it was very difficult in the beginning to be accepted by our own country. Why? Because what is called the perspective of the clinicians in Indonesia at that time, they always have the perspective that the other products from other countries better, but we keep delivering the informations that we have this clinical trial, we have the comparison study of the bone graft, etc. So in 2018, we are announced as a market leader for the bone graft in Indonesia. And we also already completed the national standard reference for bone graft products in Indonesia. In 2018, we already deliver Sera sponge. This is the hemostatic sponge for oral and maxillofacial surgery. And now we are still in the other clinical trials for the general surgery of the hemostatic sponge. Since 2014, our university, only for the medical devices, we have already translated 26 products at least into the market in Indonesia, and it is now some of them available in an e-catalog, so that our patients can access the products from our university. This is the system that in our university we prepare for our researchers. So at the beginning, the researcher will provide us the prototyping, formulation. They will do also the reformulations. Then we will do the first valuation related to the technology readiness level, market readiness level, product readiness level, and also manufacturing readiness level. Then we review about the tests that the researchers already done up to that stage, and then we will do the valuations of the market of the products. We also will help the researcher to continue the clinical tests, to also file the intellectual properties. We give the facilities to the researcher to provide the feasibility study on the certain products, and then we will help the researchers to incubate the result of their innovations. We have already published a book about how to institutionalize technology transfer efforts. This is the practices from UGM. This is published last year as and I was the editor for this book. So what is in the detail how UGM develop innovation ecosystem? This is the question from other universities and also from the government. So actually we have what is called the Science Techno Campus in our university. This Science Techno Campus, we have some Science Techno Campus for the agriculture, and there is also one dedicated for the health and medical devices. So, for example, in our Science Techno Campus, we have the products of the Inashunt. This is already in the market after the clinical trials with the 3,000 patients for the hydrocephalic children. 2 among these patients already become the lecturer in our university, and now it is in the e-catalog as well. And also we have our researcher, for example, to deliver the nasopharyngeal carcinoma diagnostic kits strip into the market. Overall, up to now, we have around 26 products already in the market and already in the e-catalog. So this is not only the UGM works, we must also collaborate with the stakeholders, with the government, with the industries, as well as with the professional associations. So this is the model that we develop in our university. We have what is called the corporate laboratory. It can be in the department, it can be in the faculty level, it can be in the university level. So it depends on the products. We work together with the industry. For example, when the industry would like to develop the small nuclear what is called vehicles, for example, like that. So we are in collaboration with one of the biggest company for that, and then we make the target together. We file together the IP before the works, etc. And then after we reach the technology readiness level 3, then the technology will be moved into the other cluster in our science technopark. There is the Advanced Technology Research Center, wherein the government, our university, and industry will work together in this Valley of Death. And then after that, we will move the innovations into what is called the real industry. But the real industry also involve our university in the format of teaching industry. So this is the model of the demand for the development of new capability. Up to now, we have the what is called the approval for the medical devices production, and also for the food and probiotics. And also we already have also the quality management system for our science techno campus. This is how we move from the beginning up to the startups of the product. So we work together with the research group, either in education, research, community services, or innovation development. And then in our university, we have also the liaison officer and also one-stop service for the technology transfer office and technology licensing office, wherein our departments, faculties, or researcher can do the consultation about the research partnership, about the contract, about the how to do the how to move the products or innovation into the valuation, how to and this office will also take care of the licensing and also the translations of the innovation products from our researchers. And then we also have the incubators, wherein the startup companies working together in the university for the innovation, and also we nurture the students to develop as well the startup businesses. We also have the system in our integrated laboratory in the university, wherein we facilitate the industry to be the member of our integrated laboratory. We have 3 kinds of membership. The tier 1, they will have the certain exclusivity for that. And then for the tier 2, they have another scheme of the membership with our university. But we also have the tier 3, wherein we deliver the services to the small medium enterprises. So the membership for them, they don't have to pay a lot of money, but they just work together with us according to the regulations, and then we service them. For example, when they would like to provide to the government about the standardizations of their products. So this is a kind of the innovation system that we have in our university. We facilitate also the researchers and also the what is called the translational steps in our university by having the integrated laboratory. This is also international accredited, and we also have some product certification laboratory, which is now under the process of the approval from the government. For example, the product certification laboratory for the salt, for the agro devices, for the medical devices, for the air minum dan makanan kemasan tuh apa ya bahasa Inggrisnya? So for the packaging, for the food, and also for the beverage. This is especially for the small medium enterprises, and also we have 6 of the product certification laboratory. There are now under and also for the halal. Now the 6 product certification laboratory are under the what is called visitation for the approval from the government. So this is some of the model how we translate our product into the market. For example, this is the ventilator that just what is called commercialized this year. This is the only ICU ventilator registered in Indonesia from the university. So this is the result of our researcher in the university. Also, we have for example, the emergency ventilator like that. But this is not the works of our university itself. This is the collaboration with some industry, for example, with the Panasonic, Omi, Stackhop, and also with some ministries, for example, the industrial ministry. And also we have the integration with the startup company of our university. We also have the consortium to translate the e-nose. This is the mobile electronic nose, not only for the purpose of the COVID-19, but also, for example, for the coffee, for the food, for the halal system, etc. After they publish and they made the prototyping, so we invite B2B what is called meeting to develop the consortium. And also we provide the supervision and also the assistance for them to do the clinical tests of the products. So this is a kind of the strategic consortium that we developed together for the electronic nose. Yeah. And also we have the collaboration with the BPPT, with the ministry, and also with the Erlangga University and also the Mataram University for the rapid antigen. This is called the Republic Indonesia GHA. G is from our university name, H is from Hepatica, Mataram University, and A for Erlangga, the Erlangga University. Nowadays, our research group, this is directly under my supervision, under my research group. Now we are in a process of translating the nanocarbonate peptide adjuvant for the vaccinations, for the vaccine adjuvant. And now this is still under the in vitro and in vivo study, and hopefully we can translate them into the market soon. In the area of agriculture, for example, we have the collaboration with the seed company in Indonesia, wherein we collecting, identifying, passporting, doing research and development for the vegetable gene bank and also fruit gene bank for food and security and safety. We also have the bioenergy center wherein the industry put their waste. Our 100 waste of our university is also what is called maintained here for the production of the slow release fertilizer, composting, microbial starter, small scale electric generator, energy, etc. So this is the form of the collaboration and the translational steps in our university. Of course, this is not an easy way. We have some lesson learned. Later on, we can provide this presentation to you. However, we also have the model that we translate the result of our innovation directly into the community, not for the commercialization, by having the mobilizations of the students. Every year, we mobilize 7,000 to 8,000 students into the what is called remote areas all over Indonesia to work together with the community. For example, how to change the way they use the mercury into the borax for the purifying the gold mining, for example. So this is how we do the what is called the delivery of the innovation into the community. We have some books, we have some publications related to this effort. So thank you very much for your kind attention. Hopefully that this presentation can enrich this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Eka, for the enlightful presentation. So we learned from UGM that indeed the laboratory facility is such as an obligatory to support the creation of the innovation. So as you mentioned, you classified the lab into three level, based on technology readiness level. For the first, for TRL number 1 to 3, it's called corporate laboratory. So you already in collaboration with industry in the first place, right? So the commercialization will be possible later in the future, right? And then the second, go to for the TRL 3 and 6, it advanced technology research. And the last for the TRL 6 to 9, in teaching industry. Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Mrs. Ika Deviana for the speech. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of the plenary session. Now we will move to the parallel panel session. But before I introduce you to our speakers, I will highlight some information for the panel session. The panel session will be divided into 2 breakout rooms. Each participants are given the rights to choose any room to join based on the interested topics. So I repeat, the panel session will be divided into 2 breakout rooms, and each participant are given the rights to choose any room to join based on the interested topics. And the whole panel session later will be led by the moderators. And for additional information, as the output of our workshop, which will be adopted by all non-member states, we already share you the draft of adoption of resolution that can be accessed at the material folder on the link provided by the committee. The same link as the virtual background, and we would like to encourage you to add inputs or comments if there's any, and we will discuss together later on the adoption of resolution session. Well, now allow me to introduce our speakers today. For the breakout room 1, speaker 1, the first speaker is Dr. Ayat Muhammad Ahmed Al-Maghrabi. Is a researcher, City of Scientific Research and Technological Application from Egypt. The second speaker is Dr. A.L.A.K. Ranawera, Senior Lecturer, University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka. The third speaker, Dr. Diplom Ing. Mikhail Andreas Orwadi, Head of the Electronics Technology Center, National Research and Innovation Agency, Indonesia. The fourth speaker, Dr. Kamalesh Prasad, Senior Principal Scientist, GSIR, Central Salt and Marine Chemical Research Institute, Bhavnagar, India. The fifth speaker, Dr. Ella Miliende STMT, researcher Hydrometeorological Hazard, Tsunami and Disaster Mitigation Research Center, Syekh Kuala University, Indonesia. Sixth speaker, Dr. Riyad Kamil Abid, Senior Engineering Chief, Directorate of Material Research, Ministry of Science and Technology, Most, Iraq. And the seventh speaker, Dr. Hidayat, Director of Research Center for Limnology, National Research and Innovation Agency, Indonesia. Move on to the breakout room will be led by the moderator, Mr. Ragil Yogaidi from National Research and Innovation Agency, currently acting as acting director for management of intellectual property, National Research and Innovation Agency. We'll move on to the next breakout room. First speaker will be Mr. Mehtab Ahmed, Senior Technical Officer, OIC, or Marketing and Commercialization, PCSIR Labs, Pakistan. Second speaker will be Bapak Bambang Pamujati STMSCN, PhD. He is a Vice Director for Research, Innovation, Cooperation, and Alumni, Institute Teknologi 10 November, Indonesia. Third speaker will be Mr. Prabat Abeye Siri Wardana, Deputy Director, Ministry of Skills Development, Vocational Education Research and Innovation, Sri Lanka. Fourth speaker will be Ahmad Gamal SR, SE, PhD, Director of Innovational and Science Technopark, Advisor of the Smart City Research Center, Universitas Indonesia. The fifth speaker, Dr. Fatima Rubaiza, Head of Unit Malaysian Rubber Board, Malaysia. Sixth speaker, Dr. Pradip Wiswanath Samarasekere, Senior Lecturer, Director, University Business Linkage Cell, Faculty of Computing and Technology, University of Kelania, Sri Lanka. And at the breakout room 2 will be led by moderator Dr. Dwi Irmawati Gultom, currently acting Director of Utilization on Research and Innovation for Industry, National Research and Innovation Agency, Indonesia. She graduated her PhD on Media and Communication at the University of Canterbury. Well, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please stay put because we're going to have a 5-minute break before the panel session. You will immediately guided by the moderator on the panel session. So see you later, and I hope you have a fruitful session.
outroom number 1. We will be dealing with some other interesting topics. And I would like to introduce myself first. I am Ragil Gaidi. I'm a moderator who will lead the discussion during this webinar session. And in this session, we have 6 excellent speakers. And I will introduce you the speakers. The first speaker is Dr. Ayat Muhammad Ahmed El-Maghribi. Good afternoon, Dr. Ayat. Good afternoon.
Yeah, tamam.
Good afternoon. Okay, thank you very much. How are you? How are you?
Yes.
How are you? You are in Egypt right now? Can you hear my voice properly? I'm sorry. Okay.
Recording in progress.
Okay. The next speaker is Dr. Ranawira. Good afternoon, Dr. Ranawira. Can you hear my voice properly? Are you already here? Okay, Dr. Ranawira. Oh, maybe he will be joining soon. And then the third speaker is Dr. Michael Andreas Orwadi. Yeah, Pak Orwadi.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Are you
everybody.
ready?
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much. And then the fourth speaker is Dr. Kamales Prashad. How are you, Dr. Kamales Prashad? Are you already here? Oh, nothing. Not yet. Okay. The next speaker is Dr. Ella Melinda. Dr. Ella Melinda, how are you?
Hello, how are you? Thank you for having me here. Hello, everybody.
All right. Ready for the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, we will get back to you next. And then the last but not least, Dr. Riyad Kamil Abid. Hello, Dr. Riyad. Good afternoon. Oh, yeah. Maybe Dr. Riyad will be joining us soon. Okay. Commencing this session, we would like to let Dr. Ayat Muhammad El-Maghribi to deliver the presentation. And
Can I share my screen?
yeah, and Dr. Ayat Muhammad El-Maghribi is a researcher at City of Science Research and Technological Application in Egypt. Is that correct? Hi.
Okay.
And then she will be dealing with evaluation technology transfer, some problems and solution. Okay, the time is yours for Dr. Ayat.
Hello. Thanks for organizers and all participants. The presentation is about a paper titled with Evaluation Technology Transfer, Problems and Solutions, which is published in the Journal of Technology Transfer in 1982 by Timothy Okevi. Main points of our presentation is about why we do the evaluation, and although this process is often expensive and time-consuming, and evaluation of technology transfer is an important part of technology transfer process, what the evaluation will improve, and classification of technology transfer evaluation data, evaluation program according to origin. This slide is about what is the reason of doing evaluation for TT program. The reasons is evaluation give better motivation. Evaluation will increase the technology transfer interest and support, provide recognition and develop self-satisfaction, greater knowledge about how effective or efficient about the strengths and weaknesses, improve decisions by determining best methods, set goals and standards, make personal decisions, better accountability, improve documentation, program reporting, budget satisfaction. Evaluation may be useful as a progress report or as part of a final report. When and who do the evaluation? When timing is an important factor. Evaluation may be useful, as we mentioned previous, as a progress report or a part of a final report. Evaluation system could be based on pre or post test to develop baseline data for reference. And it should be noted that many transfer technology programs require a relatively long development period prior to showing results. Each of the two, internal or external, has its own advantages and disadvantages. Internal evaluation, it is internal evaluator close familiarity with the program. On the negative side, this may be some strong bias. External evaluation is usually more objective, often less efficient, more expensive, and more time consuming. Okay, classification of the data in evaluation process is dependent on the accuracy of data. Classified to see three categories. Low order data is factual information, such as activities, number of participants, program resources. This data is usually least expensive, easiest, and quickest. Unfortunately, it is also frequently the least useful. Medium order data, it's about response information based directly on participant reaction to the problem. In terms of cost, time, and ease of collection and utility, this type of data is intermediate in value between low and high order data. High order evaluation data is based on a measurement or program results. This type of performance data that would include such elements as participant learning, as well as adoption and practice of new ideas. Establishing the evaluation criteria, the first step in evaluation is determine the goals of the evaluation program. A good objective statement will define in two ways, in measurable terms over a fixed period of time. The form of evaluation criteria established prior to implementing the program. The second step is data development. It includes the modeling data needs and clarifies the relationships between data. Then data analysis and report. It is possible to determine not only program success or failure, but also reasons for that results. A very important aspect of the full evaluation process is a final report. There is three problem resources of evaluation process: new information, human elements, institutional structures. There is a problem and its solution. Some problems about new information is high cost, and its solution is pre-program budget. Problem about complex research, its solution is use components approach, type and scope, tools easier to evaluate than ideas. Rapid application, apply by degree, bit size application, high need pressure, anticipate your user demands. Problems in human elements, about human elements. Problems is resistance from research, administration, and transfer agent. Its solution is demonstrate that technology transfer can support program. The second problem is lack of user awareness. Its solution is package research and avoid jargons for researchers. Poor research reward for technology transfer problem. Its solution is establish recognition and award system. sorry. Communication failure, it's about training restructure system. Institutional structure problem, compartmentalization. So its solution is develop pages, problem rigid procedure, establish flexible procedure, no risk failure allowances, build compensation for risk and failure. Single authority is about develop, its solution is develop alternate decision process. Important note that it is very important to evaluate transfer technology process and not the technology being transferred. A good evaluation will yield high dividends or profits, both personally and the institutional level. Thanks.
Thank you very much for your rapid and very much presentation. Thank you very much. And I think some of you.
Thanks for you and the organizations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think all of the participants here have so many questions, and we will keep the question. And if you like, you can also write down the question in the chat box. All right. I would like to inform you that the presentation time is 10 minutes, and we will inform you several minutes before your presentation is. Okay. Now we would like to move to the second speaker. The second speaker is Dr. Ranawira. Is Dr. Ranawira here?
Yes, good afternoon, you all.
Hi, good afternoon, Dr. Ranawira. Thank you for joining the session. Okay, Dr. Ranawira is a senior lecturer at University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then he will be dealing with research, innovation, and commercialization of consumer electronics products for futuristic smart cities. Interesting topic, and we will let Dr. Ranawira to give his presentation for 10 minutes. The time is yours.
Okay, thank you for giving this opportunity to present and present in this technology transfer workshop. And let me share my short experience. Actually, we are new to this technology transfer and in this field actually. So we have recently established a new laboratory called Electronic Design and Innovation Center at the university level, at the University of Kelaniya in Sri Lanka. It is one of the public university in Sri Lanka. So let me share my experience with this short period. Actually, we have established this lab at the beginning of this year. So we haven't actually, like other presenters that have so many years of experience in this field, we have relatively a short period of experience. Anyway, let me present. So, okay, let me begin with our objectives. So we have actually Sri Lanka. When we consider Sri Lanka, we are a lower middle income country. So we have a national plan of becoming upper middle income country by 2013. Actually, that is a government policy. And to be in line with that objectives of government, we have specific objectives to contribute to the national economy of the country by developing export-oriented consumer electronic products, application, and technologies. So basically, we are dealing with patent, PCT, and industrial designs. And also, we are developing products or technologies which are important for sustainable national economy. And while we are developing or we are enhancing the human capital while contributing to the scientific knowledge base. So in this process, the technology transfer and product commercialization is one of the key things that we need to achieve. So having that in mind, for the products to be commercialized, the key theme that we selected the smart city, because that is one of the emerging concepts that captured the attention of so many researchers worldwide. So in a smart city, there are several segments. So when we consider a smart city, actually for a research to achieve, so we need innovation in multidisciplinary and multi-stakeholder approach, because for a one field, we cannot achieve products, or we cannot develop the product itself. So we need some multidisciplinary approach. So therefore, we are actually collaborate with so many different parties. And also smart city in Sri Lankan context. So we have two one project, Western Twin Megapolis project of Sri Lankan government. So there we have a separate chapter for smart nation and smart cities infrastructure project. And also it is one of the key aspects of our national research and development framework of Sri Lanka. And also we have a newly city that is built by in the port, Colombo Port City, one of the new financial city of Sri Lanka. So in all of these aspects, the smart city is one of the contributing part. So therefore, we select the smart city, and also the market analysis predict that the opportunities for the products for smart city is rapidly growing, and the market size will be very large by 2025. So therefore, having those things in mind, we target to develop certain electronic products that will be required in futuristic with mass cities that will capture the international market, that can be reached to the international market. So we look for certain research grant, and in 2020 we got a research grant of 40 million of Sri Lankan rupees, which is funded by the smart city. So our project was research, innovation, and commercialization of consumer electronic products by smart cities. And from those funds, we developed a new laboratory, which is dedicated for electronic product development. But it is a small scale laboratory, but we can do a lot of things there. And currently we have 5 scientists, all of them are actually the university academics and professors. And also we employed 5 research assistants. And so let me share our achievement and ongoing works during the past year. Actually, as I previously mentioned, we have worked on this field a very short period of time as comparing to the previously presented today and also yesterday. And we have actually already got few patents, and we have some online product development. So this is one of the patent that we have actually granted by the Sri Lankan National Intellectual Property Office. This is a kind of auto-removing regulator for liquid petroleum gas. This is a safety device which may require in futuristic smart cities. And also we have developed a safety electrical switch. So if there are certain gas leakage inside the homes, one of the reasons for fire incidents will be the turning on and off the electrical switches. But there will be a kind of gas sensor embedded in this particular electrical switch, which prevent these gas fires. So this is actually in domestic mean. In Sri Lanka, these gas fires are some kind of ongoing problem. So we actually address this issue with this invention, and also we are currently finding some industrial partner for commercializing this product. This is one of our achievement, I mean in patent wise. And also we are working with sustainable energy. So for that actually Sri Lanka is highly depend on this hydroelectric power, but we have very keen interest in utilizing the solar power. So in that context, rather than using the batteries, there is a electronic component called supercapacitor. So we embed this supercapacitor into the typical standalone photovoltaic system, and thereby increasing or better utilizing the solar energy that we get. So we did one publication, several publications, and as well as we got one patent. So this also, we are actually currently seeking for industrial partner for this product to be commercialized, not only in the Sri Lankan market. I think we have, there will be opportunities in the international market as well. And also, we developed a kind of addressable data communication system using RF wireless communication, irrespective of internet connection. So far the products that are available in the internet, in the world markets are almost everything is depend on internet connection, but we are developed an addressable data communication system where we don't require internet connectivity. So based on actually this is actually kind of technology. Based on this technology, several products are tested. One is tested for the telecommunication system, telecommunication industry, and other one is for the agricultural field. The one we developed for the agricultural field is actually ready for commercialize. So for this one, actually, we are actually have ongoing discussion with some companies to commercialize this product. And also there are several other ongoing development at our small research center. So they are still need to be fine-tuned and apply for a patent and industrial designs as well. And ultimately, what we need is a proper plan for commercialization. So we need to find a proper industrial partner. So as a startup in this field, this is one of the key problem or key difficulty that we have finding the suitable industrial partner. But recently there is one of the addition to the Sri Lankan university system. Each and every university there will be a small center called University Business Linkage Cell who are helping us in this commercialization endeavor. So they are helping us for finding suitable industrial partners. So we are working with them, closely working with them, finding industrial partner. And we have one success story. So we had actually the patent that we obtained previously before this center established, but recently we actually signed the technology transfer and licensing agreement with one of the top company in Sri Lanka, which is Orwadi Corporation, who have actually developed product for the international market. And the product was the remote controllable regulator for a ceiling fans, which is also one of the new invention. So this is the actually, as far as the University of Kelaniya is concerned, this is the only occasion that we did the technology transfer. So that is one of our success story. And yeah, so those are the things that I want to share with you. Yeah. And that's then. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for the brief explanation. And there are one participant who has delivering the question for you, so you can also answer directly in the chat box. Thank you. And then we will move to the next speaker. The next speaker is Dr. Michael Andreas Orwadi. He is head of the Electronic Technology Center at National Research and Innovation Agency Indonesia, and he will be presenting industrialization of automation dependent surveillance broadcast for civil air traffic management. And also he have so many experiences. If I read one by one of his experience, it will spend a day just to read the experience. So I will just catch the prominent information here that Dr. Orwadi get personal certification as associated member of International Railway Signal Engineer in 2013. And the time for the presentation is yours, Dr. Orwadi.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming in this workshop, and it is an honor for me to talk here. So I would like to share our experience concerning the, I have to share my, yeah, okay. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, thank you. So I would like to share our experience in technology transfer and commercialization of automatic dependent surveillance broadcast. It is a kind of a radar for civil aviation, and it was very long journey for the technology transfer and commercialization. So first, I would like to present to you the background of the development. So in 1989, the International Civil Aviation Organization have a consensus that, of course, because of the traffic, of the increasing traffic of the flight, they want to change the technology to control the traffic from the old technology, analog and ground-based technology, to satellite-based and digital. In 2006, I think, in 1996, the Appenberg Asia Pacific Air Navigation Planning and Implementation Regional Group, so the IQ in Asia Pacific, recommended that implementation of ADSB in Asia Pacific commencing in January 2006. So in the left side, you can see the picture. The ADSB is this kind of radar, as here, where the aircraft will send the message to ground station and to other aircraft about this its position and its velocity, also its direction. So we can save a lot of equipment using this technology. So we don't need to send the energy from ground to detect the aircraft. This is the principles of ADSB out. Yeah. So this is in our calculation. It's so cheap, such that we can deliver and implement this technology around the Indonesia. In Indonesia, there are a lot of pioneer aviation that connect one region to other region in remote area. So it's very important for us to monitor this kind of flight. So in 2007, yes, BRIN, or our office, start to develop ADSB ground receiver. This is the timeline. It's very long time, a very long journey. So it begins in 2006 when we have a memorandum of understanding with Director General of Air Transport about this technology. So we have to define, at that time, we have to define the specification. Also, we have to get the authorization for test and trial, because it will, we will need aircraft to test, etc., and use the airspace to test several motion of aircraft. And so we need the authorization for that in 2006. In 2007, we have we borrow a small aircraft, small jet aircraft. We equip with the ADSB, and we have a proof of concept. So we built a prototype, not prototype, but board type, or the very first equipment of the ground station. And we try this technology in center of Kalimantan, near the new capital, Indonesia now. So we make a proof of concept in 2007, And it is a long journey from 2007 to 2015 that we put for the first time the commercial prototype in 2015. In that time, we had already the intellectual property right for this equipment, and we have the memorandum of understanding with the company who will produce this kind of equipment. We have two company, PT Inti and the others, and other company here in Bandung in 2015. In 2016, we have integration. We have to integrate our equipment with the existing equipment in Jakarta Air Traffic Service Center. So everybody, the Minister of Transport, Minister for Research and Technology, observe these two products, our equipment and equipment that were bought from commercial. And in 2017, we have the certification of our product, and then they got the contract for 7 ground station. And 2020, just last year, the 7 ground station are operated in Papua, in operation, I mean, in Papua. So they put us our ground station in Papua because in Papua is the most difficult terrain for monitoring the aircraft. A lot of mountain and valley and so on, and so we have a 7 ground station around the Papua in 2020. Well,
your time is about 3 minutes more.
Okay, this is the last presentation for me. So the lesson learned and challenge. In the Indonesian law, the inventor must have the IPR concerning the subject. It is very difficult to write the IPR because the IPR in our IPR we have to choose the key technology. There are a lot of technology in that ADSB, but we choose the key technology that not such that we don't close the creativity of our partners. So we want that this technology can be licensed to several company. So we don't want that that company just stuck to our IPR. So we have to write it carefully. The second one, the industry in Indonesia need the market to be confirmed before they invest. I mean, before they invest on the production line. So we have to try to make the market confirm by cooperating with our authority here in Indonesia and with the users, with users in Indonesia. The second one, PT Inti is chosen by high management of BPPT according to broad consideration. So we don't know why PT Inti or PT Hikari, but well, it is chosen by them. But we negotiate with them. So about the license, the nominal or percentage, the transfer of technology, how it will be done, duration of exclusive contract, accompaniment during the project, certification by authority, and the challenge for us at the time is the transfer of technology. For example, training or adaptation of the production line must be repeated several times due to the movement of personnel in that company. So every time we did the training, some years max, the person is gone. So it's a problem. And also the second challenge is during the implementation, often there are problem and the company will ask us to solve the problem, a part of them. Okay, I think that's all for my presentation. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Pak Orwadi. And then we can move to another speaker. The fourth speaker is Dr. Kamalesh Prasad. Good afternoon, Dr. Kamalesh Prasad. Are you ready? Excuse me, Dr. Kamalesh Prasad. Okay. Right. We can move to the fifth speaker, and the fifth speaker is Dr. Ella Melinda, and she's a researcher at Hydrometeorological Hazard, Tsunami and Disaster Mitigation Research Center at Kuala University, Banda Aceh, Indonesia. And she will be conveying the presentation regarding GIS-based information system technology for disaster-affected built environment as a tool for post-disaster recovery assessment. And for Ibu Dr. Ella Melinda, we will let you, and the time for you is 10 minutes. Okay, Ibu Ella. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Pak Ryoga. Thank you for the opportunity. Let me share first my screen. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ella Melianda from the Tsunami and Disaster Mitigation Research Center, or TDMRC, from Kuala University. Thank you for the workshop committee to invite me to be one of the speakers of this parallel session. Thank you for having me. So today, like mentioned by the moderator, I'm going to talk about our recent endeavor towards a very decent technology that we want to create related to information system technology based on GIS, or as a tool for the post-disaster recovery assessment. So, as we all know, that there has been an escalating disaster occurrence in the past few years, mostly caused by natural disasters. But as we all know, for the last 2 years, it's even more severe because we experienced COVID-19 pandemic, and which resulting many human loss, massive, and with respect to the natural hazards, we experienced also massive destructions and causing deeply loss of economy to the affected countries. So ever since the Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami disaster occurred in 26 December 2004, there has been a global movement to risk reduction against disaster globally that requires global and international collaboration. So the main objective of this collaboration is actually to gain lessons learned from every disaster event, wherever it occurs around the world. Yeah, so to understand the disaster phenomena better and to eventually can communicate the scale of impact and the potential risk of such disasters that will happen again in the future to the community at risk. So along this line, the global movement requires international collaboration, particularly involving scientists, engineers, psychosociologists, governments, and private sectors. So to gain understanding of the disaster phenomena and its impact, the first and foremost thing to do as we are scientists is to come right to the spot where the disaster occurred and to immediately do the rapid assessment to the disaster affected place. And after a while, we want to revisit the place and to see how the situation has been improved, or how the people recovered from the disaster and everything. So it deals a lot with data and observation and data collections. In a conventional way, we visited the places right away, but we always face the challenges of the accessibility to the area, because of course it was devastated and difficult to access physically to the crisis area. So this is always has been the challenge for us, and therefore we need to combine it with remotely collect data collection. We collect remotely from the whatever data available in the internet. Yeah, so so most of the time the disaster requires involvement of many different experts from different angles, different aspects, so we can understand the scale of disaster impact better in order to to analyze the risk that the future holds for this area, and eventually to give back the disaster affected communities. So this is the main point of why we need to create a sort of database, good database of all the data collections that we gathered in the field, which we consider it as the the treasure, because it's not difficult. It's very difficult to collect this data with the situation, and at the same time it is very limited accessibility. So we need to create a way to make it at the same time be informative as informative as possible to the audience or to the global society who's using this data to make a better understanding about this the impact of the disaster. So in our what we have done so far in TDMRC, we collaborate with many researchers from around the world. First to like this one to analyze the coastal recovery of the post-tsunami of 2004, 10 years after, and even 17 years after most recently. So we know what we are actually facing right now in Banda Aceh, for example. And also for the long-term future, we also want to consider whether the climate change will give more effect to the situation that is already damaged. The coastal area was already damaged by the tsunami. And then we are not only stick to our place. As you know, Banda Aceh is the most devastated area after the tsunami 2004, and it becomes our natural laboratory. But we also working together with international collaboration to do the assessment, immediate assessment right after the Central Sulawesi earthquake, tsunami, and landslides in 2018. And it deals, it creates a lot of data that we need to process and analyze and tell something about it out of it. Yeah, so for example, this one, we want to analyze how much the level of damage, the infrastructure damage that occurred in this area, and also we also consider the psychosocial aspect of the people who lost their properties and etc. And then in the long run, after a while, we want to see what is actually the infrastructure that can help to better to make the more resilient society. One of them are schools, and in order to analyze what kind of schools and where they are located, are they in a hazard situation currently? So we need all the information that we gather from not only in the field, but also as much as possible from the database that has been created by the government that we can access and make use of it to analyze the situation. And more recently, we also not only want to create database that can be accessible, but also to create an interactive platform for the government to help them making decision of the situation long term after the, for example, this one after the tsunami 2004. So we create a platform of salt attack and rising dam information system. And this one is actually the phenomena that which nobody, not very much discussed about in the science world today, because it only occurred specifically in the tropical region. But now we see that it seems that tsunami inundation has greater influence to this salt attack and rising dam after even 17 years after the tsunami. So this is quite a very unique phenomena that we want to create a platform for, so everybody can access and understanding better how the long-term effect of the tsunami in the area. So why information system in WebGIS? Why do we have to choose that? Yeah, it's simple because it's updatable, user-friendly, widely used, presents visual of measured updated condition, interactive access to stakeholders and decision makers. And I'm not going to conclude, but this is a take-home message that we're still in the process of thinking how to tackle the challenges and take the opportunities on WebGIS technology use for joint international disaster assessment, because there are various factors that we need to consider, because it's kind of tricky of how data later on can be openly accessible to everyone, but requires also some protection, data protection on the other hand, based on the different policies in different countries, and then how to bridge the gaps between industrial research of this so-called low-level technology readiness that is needed for the community, but probably not very commercial to the tech products point of view. So, and then about how the data and the copyright agreement and the joint publication and etc. from all the researchers involved, we need to also make sure that everybody get the mutual benefits out of it. And and the last but not least is the innovative technology against people at risk. How we create how we close the gaps between these two. So is it worth investing for the industry to create a low-level technology readiness for the people at risk, and how can we do that in the future? So this is what my presentation is. So I conclude with this one. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Emma, for the information with a deep insight in your presentation. And it's about the tsunami disaster in Aceh, right? Yes. All right, we will get back to you after all of the speakers are completed the presentation. And now the next presenter, next speaker is Dr. Riyad Kamil Abid. Good afternoon, Dr. Riyad Kamil Abid.
Good afternoon.
Okay, you can start your presentation and your time is 10 minutes. The time is yours.
Okay. Can you see my slides?
Not yet.
And now?
Yeah, it's almost, but it's still blank.
So.
Yeah.
Is it clear now?
Yeah, we can see it clearly, but it is still, very small.
And now?
Can you make it bigger?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Sorry.
Can you make it bigger?
Okay. This.
Okay, everybody, can you see it properly? Is enough?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
I
okay,
think it's
okay. You
enough.
can continue your presentation, Dr. Riyad.
Okay, thanks very much. First of all, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah.
Good afternoon to everybody. Let me introduce myself. First of all, I am Dr. Riyad Kamil Abid from Ministry of Science and Technology in Iraq. And this is our paper introduced for this ceremony. Nanotechnologies promote petroleum and petrochemical industries, simulation of nanosensor performance by finite element methods. The importance of nanotechnology, as you know, it is relatively cheap, relatively safe, relatively clean, and financial rewards are relatively very high. Small grain size produce modification of the defects, concentration, distribution, and transportation properties. So nanotechnologies gives materials a unique properties such as high strength, reflexibility, thermal stability, thermal conductivity, high magnetic moment, etc. Nanotechnologies can touch or will touch every aspect of our life. Nanotechnologies applications in petroleum and petrochemical sectors. This is many fields can touches such as nano membranes to enhance oil and gas separation, nano catalyst to improve the efficiency of petrochemical processes, nano additives, nanomaterials may accept better performance such as anti-corrosions or adding nanoparticles into fuels to make them more efficient or burn cleaner. Also, and in our paper or this our work, nanosensors. The model is built before experimental work and after experimental work to make a comparison. But we are in our teamwork, we are focusing about defining the analysis, geometries, defining element type, real constants. It's very important to build this model and defining material properties, also meshing loads, applying boundary conditions, and solving the problem to have real results and nodal and elemental solution. Then I can summarize our process by solve the equation system of thermal and mechanical stresses and strain of introduced nanosensor, then to produce true stress and strain curves and calibrate the true stress strain curves with experimental data we had to make input true curves, stress curves to as a material property and finite element methods as a subroutine to obtain material property and then study material behaviors. Advantages of the simulation that we done can be summarized in changing material properties or layer orientation is simple for us, and many different orientations can be analyzed in a short amount of time, and this is the time advantage. Also, software employed to predict results before fabricating sample and then make a comparison with the experimental data we had. So The nano sensor properties we used had young modulus 1e to the 15 nano Newton over nano square meter. Poisson ratio of this sample was 0.2. Thermal conductivity was 3,500 watt per meter Kelvin. Diameter of carbon nanotube inner 25 nanometer and outer radius was 30 nanometer. Length was of this sensor or length of carbon nanotube was 1 millimeter. So dimensions of sensor as in final shape was the length the length of 1 millimeter, length and height 2 millimeter with thickness of 0.2 millimeter. The loads and boundary conditions. The loads and boundary conditions.
मैं तो गई नहीं, मैं तो उधर गई, वही देखा मैंने, देखा ही नहीं इसको.
Sorry, I have some noise.
कई बार तो पेपर
okay, the loads and boundary conditions. Sorry,
बाहर गिरा रहता है.
The pressure was 239 megapascal. Temperature was 433 Kelvin. Displacement was 1,000, and steady state calculations were done. Also, unstudy results can be achieved also. This is the figure comparison between carbon nanotube and stainless steel sensor deformation. As you can see that the degradation in these colors between two samples, meaning the stress affecting come from the loads on two sensors or two materials with the same boundary conditions and some we can see that the red color in right sample, meaning that decaying in mechanical properties of stainless steel sensor, while in carbon nanotube sensor it's after the experimental work is done, it is really have good performance and do not affect by the pressure and the temperature of the reservoir of crude oil. So the characterizing of our sensor, we are making many tests, and this is the sum of these tests to characterize this sensor. One of these tests was SEM, or scanning electron microscopy, to provide overviews of sample structures. Then TGA, thermogravimetric
Excuse me,
analysis.
Dr. I think your slide is stuck, so you need to move the presentation slide, because we just read only the first page of your slide.
Okay.
So you can reshare your screen, please.
Resharing? Oh, thank
Yes.
you.
I'm sorry for that, because so many people want to know your presentation. They want to see your slide.
Okay, but
okay, I'm sorry for that.
Sorry.
Can you stop the share screen and then share your screen again?
Yeah. Okay. Can you see the slides?
Can you go to the next slide?
Okay.
It's still in the
This?
first page of the slide. It is still the same to the previous slide. Okay, administrator, can you help us? Mas Aryo, can you help us?
From which slide you?
Dr. Yat, can you send the committee the slide the slideshow, please, your presentation file from the chat menu.
Okay.
From the chat box.
Let the
And
administrator
we will
share
assist
your
you from
presentation.
here. Thank you.
Okay, or from beginning?
Can you send the presentation file from the chat box, and we will assist you from here. Hello, Dr. Yat. Hello.
Okay.
Hello, Dr. Yat.
Yes.
Can you send your file,
Yes.
please? Can you send your file? Can you send your file, please? So we can help you to share your presentation.
Stop share.
Yes, you can share in this chat box.
Okay, this.
So we can do it from Jakarta. Is that okay?
Yeah, I reshare the slides. Can you see it clear or?
Oh, yeah. Okay, all of the participants, maybe we can have the slide after this that we can learn, but we have to let Dr. Yat to continue the presentation. All right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sure.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. From beginning or this paper is technologies promote petroleum and petrochemical industries, simulation of nanosensor performance by finite element method. Yes, I am Dr. Riyad Kamla from Ministry of Science and Technology in Iraq, and the technology importance, as I said before, this is relatively cheap and safe, clean, and relatively financial rewards relatively very high, and small grain size produce modification of the defects, concentration, distribution, and transportation properties. So nanotechnologies gives materials a unique properties such as high strength, flexibility, thermal stability, thermal conductivity, and high magnetic moment, etc. Nanotechnologies touches or will touch every aspect of our life. Yeah. The applications of nanotechnologies in petroleum and petrochemical sectors, we can list nanomembranes, nanocatalysts, nanoadditives, and nanosensors. Nanosensors, this is our introduced word. First of all, we are beginning from model construction of nanosensor using the defining the analysis and geometries of nanosensor, also defining an element type and real constants by finite element methods, and defining material properties using software or specialized or specific software. Then by applying loads and boundary conditions to have results, nodal and elemental solution. in brief, this paper can be summarized into many steps or some steps by solving equations system for thermal and mechanical stresses and produce true stress strain curves to make calibration with true stresses and strain curves of experimental data, and then input true stress strain curves as a material property by FEM or as a subroutine to have obtained material properties and study material behaviors. The advantage we had it from this simulation where changing material properties or layer orientation is simple way, and many different orientations can be analyzed in a short amount of time, and this is advantage for us to shortening the time used to our project, and the software employed to predict results before fabricating samples, and this software was ANSYS software. Then complex geometries can be modeled and evaluated easily. So the properties using or used of our nano sensor was young modulus 1 e to the 15 nanonewton per nanometer square meter. Poison ratio was 0.2. Thermal conductivity was 3,050 watts per meter Kelvin. Diameter of carbon nanotube used was inner diameter 25 nanometer and outer diameter was 30 nanometer. Length of carbon nanotube 1 millimeter. The whole dimensions of our sensor was array of carbon nanotube with length of 1 millimeter and height 2 millimeter with thickness of 0.2 millimeter.
Okay.
The load
time is about 1 minute.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
This is because the truncations of load and boundary conditions, the pressure and temperature was pressure to 239 megapascal and the temperature was 433 Kelvin. Steady state calculations was done and unsteady state can be achieved. The behavior, the comparison between carbon nanotube and stainless steel sensor deformation is clear for our from the degradation of colors. The red color meaning the default or degradation or failure in the body of sensor. Characterizing of sensor by SEM scanning electron microscopy in our Ministry of Science and Technology and the material center and thermogravimetric analysis TGA was achieved. Also, conclusion in this paper, the importance of this paper for our work is using nanotechnologies with finite element methods technique for having an aim of building a mathematical model that can predict a sufficient imagination to the compositions of reservoir layers and possibility for existing industrially valuable minerals in addition to hydrocarbons of crude oil. Today's finite element methods may be a appropriate line to achieve this target and to overcome technology transferring problems as I see by government support for the marketing of noble ideas and also productive communications such as this ceremony and intensive training courses among scientific establishments and academic centers may accelerate the arrival stage and achieving goals. thanks for your kindly attention, and this work is done with petroleum engineering, Mr. Salah Khalaf from Ministry of Science and Technology in Iraq. And good afternoon, and God bless you for these organized efforts. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
We are waiting for your slide to share in your chat room. Okay. In this chat box, you can share your slide.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now we are going to the last but not least speaker. We will let Dr. Hidayat deliver his presentation, and he is now a director of Research Center for Limnology, National Research and Innovation Agency Indonesia, and he will be dealing with disaster mitigation in limnology research. For Dr. Hidayat, we will let you to have 10 minutes presentation.
Okay, thank you, Chairman, for the opportunity. Thanks to the committee to let me bit a presentation about a coherent-based inland water disaster mitigation from Research Center for Limnology, RIN. So this is the very beautiful lake, actually, and then it's located in West Sumatra province, and multi-functional lakes used as a water source for hydropower, tourism, and transportation, capture fisheries, and aquaculture. But this is the problem that since 1990, the lake is exploited for fish farming activities in the floating net aquaculture, and it continues to grow. And the floating net aquaculture scattered around the lake, as you see here, all around the lake, and it's make decrease of water quality, eutrophication, fish skills. So for illustration, this is from the low nutrient condition in 1921 to very hyper eutrophic or extreme high nutrient content or heavily polluted in 2016. So this is the problem that water quality improvement effort is crucial to solve this complex problem. And to answer the problem, we carried out various studies and technology development in Lake Maninjau by integrated ecosystem approach, catchment, lake borders, and water bodies, and viewing the lake as the one ecosystem that consists of biotic and abiotic component interacting in the form of ecological processes related to material and energy cycle. So we see here, early this year, we also see the fish skills occurred in the lake. So this because of this bad water quality condition. So by this, we have done multifaceted research and development activities, including encouraging environmentally friendly land-based aquaculture and applying alternative technology for ecosystem restoration, real-time monitoring and environmental condition for model calibration, and develop a concept for restoration of the lake. Then this is the methodology that we introduced: integrated multi-tropic aquaculture, integrated wetland system for improving the landscape ecology and water quality, and EMOS, or environmental monitoring and warning system, and coupled catchment and lake model consists of SWOT model and two-dimensional multi-layer hydrodynamic and water quality model. So with integrated multi-tropic aquaculture, we construct the ponds here outside the lake that we use duckweed for the feed of the fish, tilapia fish, and then we monitor the growth. For integrated wetland system, we construct the constructed wetland beside the lake, and we make stabilization ponds and also with floating wetlands that function as the for filtering the pollution, and also construct lake fountain aeration system. Also, we have environmental monitoring and warning system that also put to the environment, to the people that warn the situation of the water quality. And with couple catchment and lake model, we combine the hydrometeorological information into the water quality model and hydrodynamic model, and be used later on for policy making. And the result is that the integrated multi-tropic aquaculture has an economic activity that have the value is 40 times higher than the rice cultivation. You see here also the growth of the lemna as the feed for the fish, and it's very productive. And also with using the constructed wetland, the water quality is improved from you see from the inlet to the outlet is really improving. And also with using the fountain lake aeration, we improve the water quality of the lake with increasing the dissolved oxygen levels. And also the constructed wetland function to reduce nutrient and provide microhabitat, as you see here, the fish and mollusks nest under the root, and also is also can be used as to enhance the aesthetics, and also people and a student can use as the study for the environmental study for them. And with model simulation and calibration and validation, so that the pollution is caused by the floating net aquaculture. And we see here without river loads from floating net aquaculture is really very dominant. And also is validated by our observation on the lake. And with the modeling research, we can also give recommendation to the local government that we have to reduce the floating net aquaculture at least with 69.6% to get the water quality to become better. And also we make a policy brief and present it to the local government. This is just one case study in Lake Maninjau, but we also do it in other lake. In the Lake Toba is the largest lake in Indonesia, and currently the Minister of Infestation and Maritime Infestation have adopted this our results as a basis for the making the decision with the local government and in reducing the floating net aquaculture in the lake. So the water quality has become better. That's my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hidayat, for the very complete presentation. And there is several minutes more that we can use for question and answer. And the speakers here, I think, will answer the question you might have. All of participants, if you have a question, please raise your hand. I will let you to deliver your question directly to the speaker. All right. If you don't have, you can contact the speakers directly, and the committee will give you all of the contact of the speakers. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for all of the excellent speakers, and also all of the participants to join this session. And you may go back to the plenary room to continue our next program, which is the closing remark by the Executive Secretary of National Research and Innovation Agency. All right, thank you very much for this participation. Thank you very much for joining this session, and then hope to find you very well and healthy. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
shortly, we will begin the adoption of resolution session. And this session will be led by Dr. Amitava Bundopadai as a Director General, NAM Science and Technology Center, and also Mrs. Tri Nur Aris Sustiningtyas from Executive Secretary of National Research and Innovation Agency, as well as National Focal Point of Indonesia for NAM Science and Technology Center. Excuse me, could you hear my voice clearly?
Yes, you are clearly audible. Yes, please go ahead.
Sure. Now I will invite Dr. Amitava to start the session, and the next speaker after Dr. Amitava will be lead also with Mrs. Tri Nur Aris Sustiningtyas. Floor is yours.
Okay, Miss, thank you so much. And we are slowly coming to the end of the wonderful workshop, which we have seen over the last 2 days. Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Very clear.
I'll just take 2-3 minutes to explain the purpose of the resolution. So it is basically a set of recommendations adopted during the event that would be submitted to all the member countries for their consideration. And I can also mention that resolution is just a guiding document that is non-binding for any member country. So whenever, hello, Ms. Noor.
Good afternoon from Jakarta.
Good afternoon. Okay, so it is basically a non-binding document. So whenever you support something, it is not that you are giving the decision from your government. Because here there are representatives from the government, representatives from the academia, representatives from the research institutions. So it is basically a group of intellectuals. They are summarizing their thoughts and giving a set of guidelines. So there's nothing binding about it. So even for recommending, don't say, you may not feel that, okay, I have not got an approval for this, so how can I recommend it? It is not like that. It is just a guiding document. Now, what is the purpose? What it will do? Because what we are going to do after the adoption is, along with our report of the workshop, we are circulating to all of the focal points in the member countries with the hope that this guiding document may help a country to draft their roadmap in this specific area. So if it is technology transfer and commercialization, this document will guide that. So with this brief comment, I would request Mrs. Noor to kindly conduct the entire session. The floor is yours, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Amitava. Good afternoon, everybody. Secretariat, could you share the draft of Jakarta resolution, please? Okay, let me read one paragraph through paragraph, and then I hope Dr. Amitava will continue. So we start with the title. It's okay, everyone. This is Jakarta resolution on role of science, technology, and innovation policy for the promotion of technology transfer and commercialization in NAM and other developing countries. This is the title. Then, while expressing gratitude to the National Research and Innovation Agency, or BRIN, Republic of Indonesia, and the Center for Science and Technology of the Non-Aligned and Other Developing Countries, NAM Science Technology Center, New Delhi, for jointly organizing virtually the International Workshop on Technology Transfer and Commercialization during 7 to 8 December 2021. Is it any comment on that? Or should we add the participant here? Please, anyone comment? Or should we continue?
We can continue, madam, because the participant countries we are mentioning in the page 2, just before we are starting the resolution.
Okay, then I read the second paragraph. Realizing that numerous technological innovations have proven to be very vital for the economic progress of nations, and therefore government of the NAM and other developing countries must adopt appropriate policy measures to promote and facilitate technology transfer and commercialization. Recognizing that a large number of technologies developed by academic and R&D institutions do not get transferred to the industry for commercialization due to several barriers and challenges. Having considered that there is a need for cooperation in science, technology, and innovation among NAM and other developing countries on the promotion of technology transfer and commercialization. Okay, next, having considered that there is a need for cooperation in science, technology, and innovation among NAM and other developing countries on the promotion of technology transfer and commercialization. Having deliberated on various aspects and mechanisms of innovation, transfer, and commercialization of the newly developed technologies, recalling the aims of the workshop: one, to collect, study, and share best practices and increase participants' knowledge of various forms and possibilities of technology transfer and commercialization strategies. Two, to strengthen the analytical skills of participants on leveraging their essential knowledge that has an impact on policy formulation or development regarding technology transfer and commercialization. And three, to assist the participating government official to appreciate how public research agencies may bring the real impact of industrial innovation in private sector through technological licensing. And four, to illuminate instances where the governments can form new solutions in inducing the private sector to make contributing role through their profit-oriented activities in addressing public concern. Should we continue or any other comment? Okay.
Can continue then.
Continue?
I think we can continue, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, next. Reaffirming that capacity building in technology transfer and commercialization should remain as one of the items on top of the agenda of an economy, as it is directly relevant with the ubiquitous public interest, including in pandemic and other disaster management and economic development. Also being attentive of the necessity for the governments of the NAM and other developing countries to encourage technology transfer and commercialization from universities and research centers to privately owned companies, including small and medium enterprise, as crucial activity in their respective national innovation system. We, the participant of the International Workshop on Technology Transfer and Commercialization, representing the government, academic and research institutions, and science technology agencies from Bhutan, Cuba, Egypt, India, Indonesia, Iran, Iraq, Malaysia, Mauritius, Myanmar, Nepal, Nigeria, Pakistan, Palestine, South Africa, Sri Lanka, Zambia, and Zimbabwe, as well as other relevant stakeholders, unanimously resolved and recommended the following. Okay, I think I give the floor, then you, Dr. Amit.
Okay, I'll continue.
Then,
yes.
Then I can continue later on. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, please.
Can you scroll up a little bit? Yes. Okay. The screen can be.
Is it scroll up or scroll down, sir?
Yeah. No, you have to scroll up a little bit.
Scroll.
Oh, scroll up. Okay, let me read my. Okay. The governments and all other stakeholders should view science, technology, and innovation policy as a means to address economic and societal problems effectively and efficiently. Consequently, the policy design needs to realistically reflect the demands of the industrial sectors and to generate collective participation of the private sectors in creating robust economic development and addressing challenges faced by them. Is this point okay? Or yeah, it is good.
Yeah, scroll down, please. Yeah, scroll down. Okay, nice. Okay.
Yes. Okay, so a little bit up. Yeah. Okay. Now, if there is no point, no concern in this first point, then we go to the next one. While the primary objective of science, technology, and innovation policy would continue to be the promotion of scientific research and subsequent development of technological products and services, government and all stakeholders need to also help the creation and organizational adaptation as required to nurture innovation, namely through the support of an entrepreneurial culture in the startup firms and entrepreneurships. Okay, if there is no other comment, I'll go to the third one. The role of various associated government arms should take appropriate policy measures in their respective domains to promote technology transfer and commercialization and innovation. As such, research and development, tax breaks, and other fiscal incentives, intellectual property rights laws, and intellectual property asset management, tax laws, product standards, environment, safety regulation, and so on, in order to help the innovating firms deal with obstacles to innovation. So these are all the associated issues that comes along with innovation and before you really start its commercial production. So these have been summarized. There may be one or two, but these are ones we have mentioned that, okay, safety regulations and so on. So there may be other few minor issues. Is there any comment? Okay. If there is none, then we go to the next one, the fourth one. Relevant government departments should articulate their sectoral concerns to be manifested as innovation demands over new technological products for the private sectors to produce in order to facilitate technology transfer and commercialization from universities and research centers to privately owned companies for developing new products with quality standards as required by such sectoral government authorities. Any comment on this?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Can you just allow change the privately owned companies to companies only, because in Indonesia also there's state-owned company and etc. Thank you.
So which particularly, can you suggest the revised line so that they can do the necessary modification?
Relevant government departments should articulate their sectoral concern to be manifest, and the fourth row.
Okay, so yes,
Unit
you can make
centers to
necessary corrections
privately
and
owned.
then you will reread again.
Yep, to privately owned companies. Can we change just to companies?
Okay, instead of privately owned, you just say companies.
Yes.
Okay.
Good, yes. So that makes it general.
Yeah, just make it more general, I think, yes.
Yes. You can straight delete it. No point in giving a track chain mode. You can just delete it.
Delete, yeah. Directly delete.
Directly delete it, please. So the privately owned, these two words goes out. Okay, so let me read it.
Lalu langsung delete aja, jangan pakai private account.
I think it is better if we can use industries.
Okay. So instead of companies, you are suggesting industries?
Yeah, both of them are industries, I think.
See, the moment you are mentioning industries, see, software is a major issue, but normally for software, we don't use the word industries. We can say that, okay, research center to industries / companies. Is that acceptable?
Or industrial enterprises.
Okay, industrial enterprises should be fine. Instead of companies, please put industrial enterprises. Then we again read that particular point.
Excuse me?
Just one moment. Enterprises, yes. Tell me, yes, sir, please.
Hello, excuse me.
Yes, please.
There is one, the private sector is mentioned in line number 3 as well. New technological products for the private sectors to produce. I think in that case, we need to make a change here as well.
Yes, please suggest.
Like we have replaced that private companies to industrial enterprises in the 4th line. In the same para, if we go to the beginning of the 3rd line.
Yes, instead, so you are suggesting, ma'am, that instead of private sectors, we mention industrial enterprise.
Yeah, exactly, because then
there is a parity.
Yeah.
Okay. Madam, please, yeah, this can be changed to industrial enterprises. Okay, so let us read it again. Relevant government departments should articulate their sectoral concerns to be manifested as innovation demands over new technological products for the industrial enterprises to produce, in order to facilitate technology transfer and commercialization from universities and research centers to industrial enterprises for developing new products with quality standards as required by such sectoral government authorities. Is that okay?
It doesn't look nice that you repeat industrial enterprises within 2 lines. You know, the second time you can simply just write to industry. That's all. Because your technology transfer and commercialization.
Just write industries.
Research centers to industry.
In centers to industries, IES. Yes, that's fine. So we can save this and proceed to the next one. Academic and research institutions should be encouraged to adopt in-house mechanisms for technology transfer and commercialization. Is that okay? Okay, then, Madam, can you please take over, please? Madam Noor?
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. You can take up the next one, please.
Okay, thanks, sir. So next is the business incubators, science parks, and similar entities should be established to provide infrastructural facilities and other services to startup entrepreneurs. A public fund similar to venture capital should be made available for the creation of technology-based enterprise and spin-off. Any comment?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
I just want to, I just have one query. Like in the previous point, we were talking about the development of new products. But as of now, the innovation also involves sometimes improvement in the existing product as well. So will it be okay that if we include that, like one thing is a new product is developed, altogether it's a new, but if a product already exists, but there is some innovative step to enhance its, say, performance or quality or something, improvement I would like to suggest in that.
In what sentence here, please?
In the previous point.
Oh, previous, okay.
Like the one before that, which we
scroll up,
where we had
please.
done the corrections. The earlier point where we did that correction, that industries and all. This point, the topmost.
Excuse me.
New products here.
Yeah, here. Yeah.
Here.
My submission was its technology is always definitely 90% of the time it is new products, but 10% of the time it may be an improvement in the existing products. It's just a, I mean, it's just a comment. I'm not saying you can think over it.
Okay. Any idea for that? I think for developing new and
improve we can use. Yeah, we can use improved products.
Improve product.
Improves.
Improve. Yeah.
D.
Improved. D.
Pakai D ya. With D, please. Yeah.
I am PROVD.
Improve
yes,
without existing. Yeah.
If you give improve, then existing is not required. So that existing can go.
Please, yeah. Improve products, okay.
With quality standards as required by such sectoral government authorities.
Okay. Okay.
Madam Dipti, is that okay?
So we can have the new / improved also. I mean, either new or improved.
Oh,
okay,
new
you can have that also. Instead of and, you can use /.
Okay. Okay, new and /or. Is that?
No, it's then new. No? Just new oblique improved.
New oblique.
And or is not required.
Okay.
New and can
new garis miring improved.
Garis miring / yeah.
New or. New
N-nya nggak usah.
Or-nya
nggak usah. N-nya nggak usah, Bu.
Oh, okay.
New garis miring.
Or.
Then that / is not required. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Fine. Okay, ma'am, please go ahead.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Yes, please.
The next sentence, it is written academic and institutions should be encouraged. Encouraged by who?
Academic
by
and institutions should be encouraged.
By the government or by the private?
By the policy makers.
No, can I clarify this point?
Yes.
Yes. See, when you say, because this is a policy document, so the moment you say encourage, the default is it is from the government. See, the resolution is primarily addressed in so that the government can prepare the necessary policy document. So if in the moment you are telling that encourage, so it's basically the government. But again, this encouragement can come from
by
the
policy maker, I think better to
policy makers should be encouraged by, please put by there.
Excuse me, if you go up to the end, you will find one sentence that this document this resolution may be submitted to the respective governments for necessary action.
Okay.
So the entire thing is addressed to the governments of the developing countries.
Okay.
So it takes care of that. So it may be policymakers in the government or the academic and research institute, public funded academic and research institutions. Those will also be governed by the government policies. So basically it is addressed to the government.
So if the sentence that you are already
if
is
did
written
not,
in the end, I think okay.
Okay, so we have to put here.
Sorry, one more submission, please. Yeah. This is regarding again the previous point where we had added the new or improved products. We can have products / processes. There may be improvement in the processes as well.
Better to have products and technologies, right?
For developing new or improved products.
This is just a suggestion. Like one thing is we are developing a new product. The other is we have the a new know-how of a new process for development. We are not transferring the product, but that process or modification in the process. So it's just a recommendation that if we have that products / processes, because in industries many such things also come up.
So just add process. Check with C.
Process. Shall I make a comment on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. For Dr. Deepti's comment, so I'll just suggest rather than just limiting to process, then if we can go with something like technologies. So technologies, it's like a broad term that we can use for everything. So improve products and technologies.
Okay. So we put technology here, or
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That will include everything. Yeah.
Yeah, technology.
Technology can mean product, can mean processes.
Yeah. Okay, for this.
Excuse me. This sentence is getting too complicated. You know, it's already written that in order to facilitate technology transfer and commercialization. So the transfer of technology is already there. And again, if you qualify it with the product, process technology, etc., I think the sentence becomes ultimately wrong.
Too long.
Even first you are written innovation demands over new technological products for the industrial enterprises. Again, it is being repeated by the improved products and processes technology. So you have to be a little simple, I think. Even though it has been initially formulated by NAM Center and BRAIN. NAM Center means
right.
But ultimately, after the modifications, the suggestions are okay. But as we are going on adding, so there are lots of repetitions. Please consider.
Okay.
So one possible suggestion, madam, is can we break this recommendation into two?
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
So as this is processes technology is very much specific, can we use the word system, improved products / system? I think it would be more simpler and can comprises everything.
For developing new or improved product or system without technology or with technology?
No, without technology.
Without technology.
Okay. So you left the
Any
technology.
Any kind of system.
Okay. It's okay, everybody?
Yeah,
I think this one is
much better, yeah.
Okay, much better.
Okay. So we move to
next
academic and research
institution. We have already covered.
It's already.
We come to that a public fund similar.
Okay. A public fund similar to venture capital should be made available for the creation of technology-based enterprise and spin-off. Okay, then regional and private financial institutions should be involved in the financing of innovation process and other activities that can facilitate the commercialization of knowledge and its adoption, thus reducing the dependence on the limited public funding sources. Any comment on that, or we can continue? Okay. Growth of professional consultancy services sector should be fostered to help the innovation process, is technology transfer, commercial information gathering, legal advice, etc. Until this, I will give to Dr. Amitava next for reading the last paragraph.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. You can continue.
Okay.
Just one point left, so please continue.
Thank you. Okay. The
Excuse
government
me.
of the, okay, any comment on that?
Hello.
Yeah, please.
Growth
Please.
of professional consultancy, blah, 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 blah. Technology transfer, commercial information gathering, patent. About patent also, I think it is better to write patent registration or something like
patent.
that.
Please put there, yeah, patent. Thank you. Is there any?
Patent, instead of patent, it can be patenting. That's okay. Even patent is fine. Patenting. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Last, the government of the NAM countries should consider active networking and international cooperation among themselves on STI, Science, Technology, Innovation Policy formulation, technology transfer and commercialization, creation of startup, marketing of technology-based products and services, promotion of inter-firm alliance, commercially oriented research collaboration, etc., which would eventually help the non-aligned movement to reinvent itself in the 21st century. Itself.
No, there is a slight, yeah.
Okay, agreed. That this resolution may be submitted to the concerned authorities in the NAM and other developing countries for appropriate action. Thus, unanimously resolved and adopted virtually on this day, the 8th December 2021.
I think we can add the location also on the 8th December 21 at Jakarta.
Okay, at Jakarta.
That's great.
Any comment for the last paragraph? One, two, three, four, five.
Okay, good.
Thank you so much. So
Thank you,
I
ma'am.
think go ahead in the first, the title. So finally, we come up with the Jakarta resolutions on role of science, technology, and innovation policy for the promotion of technology transfer and commercialization in NAM and other developing countries. Thank you so much for all distinguished participants. I give the floor to Dr. Amitava.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Now we'll have the concluding session. So we have a wonderful workshop so far, and the subject is extremely important. So for the developing NAM countries, all the developing countries is concerned, because technology is something very unique in the sense that you bring in the wrong technology, you can land up into a lot of problems. So during my long professional experience while developing various technologies, one thing we have realized that there is one very important term called compatible technology. Now, the moment we are telling compatible technology, the technology must suit that location for where it is being implemented. Like often we have come across situations, I'm not talking about the softwares and things like that, but particularly the technologies which are required for the small and medium enterprises. Because one unique feature of small and medium enterprises is that they do not generally have the necessary R&D support. So if they do not develop something which will be suitable for them, and if they just try to import something from some other place, invariably they will land up into problem and this technology will never work. So you have to be extremely careful while importing a technology. Now then, coming to the commercialization, generally if you consider it in a scale of 10, many times what we essentially call it a technology, but it's not really a technology. It's basically the process we develop. And that comes out at maximum up to the stage 3, stage 1, 2, 3. This is basically what we call it a readiness. And then there is a major area, something like 4, 5, and 6 TRM technology readiness level, where it is a basically dead zone, and many of the developments, if it is not handled properly, they ultimately die. But when something comes to the level of 7, you have to be very, very careful, because there is a huge chance that that becomes basically very successful. So we have to be very careful in regard to developing the compatible technology. And then we have to look very critically at the various barriers. Because if you classify the issues in regard to technology, there are technical, economic, social. But the major issue is basically what we have seen is the issue in regard to the mind block. Because many times while developing, we take a decision, okay, it will work or it will not work. But that decision often comes quite early, often without basis. So one has to be extremely careful so far the psychological side is concerned. And we have already discussed that there are, so far the technology commercialization concerned, there are many prerequisites. So experts have delved on that. So I don't want to go into detail. But these are some of the issues, particularly the barrier. One has to be extremely careful and take the necessary steps accordingly. With this very brief comment, I would hand over the mic to Madam Noor for her comments on that.
Thank you, Dr. Amitava. So this is our concluding remark. Yeah, Dr. Amitava Bandopadhyay. Nice to meet you. Quite a long one. Yeah, like my name, very long. Director General NAM Science Technology Centers, distinguished participants, speakers, moderators from 12 countries, from India, Indonesia, Iraq, Iran, Malaysia, Mauritius, Egypt, Myanmar, Pakistan, South Africa, Sri Lanka, and Zimbabwe. All the speakers and moderators, representative from ministries, R&D institution, university from NAM Center, member countries, all distinguished participants. That's so amazing. Until this, our second day, still many join. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. First of all, I would like to express my highest appreciation to all speakers, panelists, moderators, committee. I was helped by committee from BRIN for their support, cooperation, and valuable contribution for today's international workshop on technology transfer and commercialization. We held jointly, and I think it's successfully virtually, yeah, from all your side, yeah. And I know that it's very productive, yeah, by the BRIN and NAM Science Technology Center. My deepest gratitude goes to all who attend for today, especially speaker. And we see that all of us have obtained fruitful and productive session, and also networking, yeah, because I am new also in this NAM Science Technology Center. So I got information from Committee for Bureau Legal and Cooperation from BRIN. For this 2-day workshop, we have 361 participants from Zoom and YouTube, and today also more than 130. So distinguished ladies and gentlemen, previously we have already discussed a session about joint adoption of resolution. Thank you for all inputs from all participants of the workshop. We also realized that this 2-day workshop, the topic of technology transfer, is very significant in the development of research innovation that is closely related to commercialization while doing a licensing about the product. Because we all basically agree that the commercialization of our research result can be recognized and utilized optimally by the community. I'm not the expert, but day-to-day of my career is doing with our scientists, and this is a very good effort from all of us. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would like to emphasize on behalf of BRIN that the role of various associated government should take appropriate policy measures in their respective domains to promote technology transfer, commercialization, and innovation, such as R&D, tax break, and patent and other fiscal incentive, and also intellectual property right, intellectual property asset management, and so on, in order to help the innovating firm deal with the obstacles to innovation. I hope that all the good collaboration of the participants resulting from this workshop can be strengthened, our effort, our networking, try to apply the result of research and development as much as possible, because it can be developed more cheaply and it is easier to get feedback using a framework system with 7 main activities such as tenant selection, mentoring, training, certification, license, and intellectual property protection, funding, partnership, evaluation, and exit strategies that I believe all our member countries, all our R&D organization, and anyone that join is really doing on that strategy. I also really appreciate that many universities, research institutions, and have demonstrated that there has been a massive amount of transfer technology and commercialization activities with many support and commitment at the highest level available. Once more, thank you so much for your valuable input. And to conclude, I hope this 2 days workshop and adoption of resolution session will enhance the implementation of technology transfer in strengthening the transfer commercialization process of technology innovation, especially to overcome disaster. Indonesia just got many disasters in 2 days and emergencies, and we will develop mutual collaboration between NAM and developing countries member to reinforce stability and prosperity toward a digital society. Thank you again for your all participation, Dr. Amitava and every NAM member countries. I hope we all stay healthy and safe amid this global pandemic. Good afternoon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, ma'am.
So much.
Can I just add 1 or 2 points with your permission? One is that at the end of this workshop, we always try to bring out a publication. And recently, most of our publications are coming out from Springer in Singapore. So I would request all the presenters to submit their full papers to us as soon as possible, because we have to form an editorial committee who will go through these papers, and finally what will come out is the edited paper. In addition to the presenters, we will also request some of the experts from various countries to submit their papers so that it can be included in the volume. So I'll request you to send your papers as early as possible.
Yes.
This is number 1. And second is that I would like to express our gratitude to His Excellency Lakshmana Tri Handonko, the chairman of the National Research and Innovation Agency, Madam Noor, Mrs. Mila, Nena, and all other colleagues at BRIN for all their kind support. So because of that support, we could do this. And the arrangements were wonderful. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you also, Dr.
Right,
Amitafa and all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much,
for the committee.
Mrs. Nur Ari Sustinias and Dr. Amitafa Bando Padai. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of the session. Thank you very much for your active participation once again, and also the contribution. And we do apologize for any inconvenience during the event. And I hope you enjoyed the entire workshop. It's a pleasure to have all of you. Have a wonderful day. Good afternoon, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dara.